All right, so you get 3y equals 12, y equals 4. Now here's the key thing though, you still got to go figure out what the other variable is. You can't just stop there. And we'll go through how to do that, but it's not overly difficult because we got to come up with an ordered pair. Like when you first started doing this, when I was looking at your homework, some of you just found x equals or y equals and then you stopped. All right, this is the first one on your sheet, right? Take a look at what I got. Does that match up? All right. Yeah. Couple of key things though for elimination is you need to have it lined up so it's nice. 2x minus 3y equals 3. And I got negative 2x plus 5y equals negative 1. So I got my x's in line, I got my y's in line, and my equal sign. So I can just add those right now. Okay? And now what happens when I add them? Okay? Evan?
We get 2y equals 2.
You get 2y equals 2. That's it. Because those add up to 0. And I get 2y equals 3 minus 1, which is 2. Divide by 2. And I get y equals 1. We are not done, however, because you got to figure out what x is. You can take either of the original two equations and plug that y in to figure out what x is. Now, it doesn't matter which one. One might be easier than the other, not necessarily all the time. I'm just going to pick the first one, which is 2x minus 3y equals 3. Take y equals 1, plug it into there. And so I get 2x minus 3 times 1 equals 3. Now, what do I get then? 2x minus 3 equals 3. Add 3. And I get 2x equals, what is that? 6. Divided by 2. I get x equals 3. So my answer is the ordered pair 3, 1. Now, Hanan, if I want to know if I'm really right, what would I do? Plug them in. If you want to know whether you're really right, you plug them in. It's probably going to work for whichever one you picked here. It's the second one that's really important. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1. So I'm just going to do a quick mental check. It did work. Okay, it did work. All right, now, as with everything, it doesn't always work quite that nice because you had a 2x and a negative 2x. Don't get ahead of me here, you'll screw up. Look at number 2. Don't do anything yet because what would happen if I added them together? Would anything add up to 0? No, do not write this down. Because if I would add them up, it would give me 4x, because 2x plus 2x is 4x, minus 4y equals 8. That doesn't help me because I didn't eliminate anything. So we got to make it so it will eliminate. I'm just rewriting this because it's easier for me. You don't have to. Okay. What would make it so that it would be a good situation? What do I want? How is this different than the previous one, I guess?
If you were to make the second problem negative 2x plus 5y, would that work?
Yeah, one of these needs to be a negative. If one of those was a negative, we'd be golden, right? We can make it a negative, okay? But here's what you got to do.
Would you like switch everything's like value?
You would switch. Yes, you'd switch everything's value. Now here's how you do that. You are allowed to multiply either equation by any number you want. If I multiply this bottom one by negative 1, what that does is what you just said. It changes all the signs. It keeps us all the values, but it changes the sign. So here's what I'm going to do. Especially with elimination, I like to write them one on top of the other, and then when I do this step, I'm going to go right to the right.
Should we write this down?
Yeah, I would write this down now. Okay.
You notice he's got those parentheses around the entire equation, meaning what's on the other side of the equal sign. And we're used to just kind of distributing something across parentheses on one side of the equal sign. Everything needs to change here.
Now, that negative 1, like he just said, and Jordan just said, multiplies by every term in there, so it becomes negative 2x. It becomes negative 1 times negative 5, which is plus 5y. And it becomes negative 1 times 13, which is, this is the big one, the negative 13. This is where some people would just forget to do that. Now, will something add up to 0? Yeah, 2x and negative 2x. That's what we have to have. Jordan, what does that give me then?
You may give me the whole answer, or?
Just this step here.
So it'd be negative 2x. Wait.
What do we get when we add those together?
Oh, okay, it would be 6y is equal to negative 18.
Good. 6y is equal to negative 18. Divide by 6. And y equals negative 3. Now, usually you're going to get nice answers for these because we make them up so that they're nice answers. Every now and then you'll get a fraction. But like if you get something crazy like, I don't know, 18 over 11, like you need to go back and double and triple check everything because it's probably not what it's supposed to be. All right. Am I done, Josh?
No, you plug it in.
Yep, we got to plug it in because I still got to find the x. So either equation, go back to one of your two original equations. I'm just going to use the first one. 2x plus y equals negative 5. Y equals negative 3. So that becomes 2x plus negative 3 equals negative 5. And now a plus and negative 3, how can I just write it with one sign?
Minus 3.
Yes, good. Sometimes we try to make that harder than it is. All right, Colin, where do I go from there?
Then you add 3 to this.
Add 3 to both sides, and then I get 2x equals
Negative
2 divided by 2, and I get x equals negative 1. So we should have the ordered pair. Negative 1, 3.
Negative 3.
Woo, thank you. Negative 3. Again, if you want to tell whether you're right, you plug those in to both equations, and if it works for both of them, it's right. There's no question. Okay, so that's like on your quiz. You should be able to tell whether you should tell me you're great, realistically. All right, let's take a look at this third one here. All right, before you do it, I'm just going to rewrite it underneath here. I want you to look at it and see if you can figure out a plan, because there's more than one plan that will work for this. And why I say that, it doesn't matter which letter adds up to 0, just one of them has to add up to 0, whether it's the x's or the y's. Grant, you got a plan?
Yeah.
What's your plan?
Multiply the top by 3.
All right, he says multiply the top by 3. That will work because that will make this 3x, and that will make that bottom one negative 3x. All right, so multiply that top one by 3. And then just wait, and then I'll do it. Just see if you can do it. Then that bottom one doesn't need to be multiplied.
So we're looking to multiply the 2, right?
Yes.
Really careful.
All right, so when I multiply, I get 3x plus 6y.
You got a decimal.
You got a decimal? All right, so you got a decimal, so that's a big red flag. Doesn't mean it's wrong. Well, it kind of does for this one. But what did you get on top there, Christian? Tell me what you got after you multiply by 3.
Okay, well, I didn't multiply 11 by 3.
So you had 3x plus 6y equals 11?
Yeah.
So it's got to be 33. That's what I was gonna say, that's usually the number one mistake.
Yeah, my one.
So negative 3x plus y equals negative 5. I didn't need to multiply that one. So make sure it equals 33. And now when I add them together, 3x minus 3x is 0. I don't even need to write it. I get 7y equals 28. And then divide by 7. Divide by 7, I get y equals 4. Okay. We got to figure out x. Like I said, sometimes one equation is a little bit nicer than the other. I would probably pick the first one here because it doesn't have that many minus signs, but it really, really shouldn't matter. 2 times 4 equals 11. So x plus 8 equals 11. Subtract 8, x equals 3. So I get the point 34. All right, I can live with that. Always get your ordered pair. Always get your ordered pair. All right, flip it over on the back. All right, you try this one. You try this one. If you get a decimal, let us know. And if you're not quite sure, just wait. We'll go through it. And you don't have to do the same thing. So somebody else.
We try to do too much work at once.
I don't know.
Now, I want to see what you're doing.
What do you know?
What do you think?
I don't know. Divided?
What?
Hey, now one thing that happens here, what is that right-hand side after you add them together?
5y equals 0.
Okay,
0.
Freaked out by the number 0.
yeah. All right, a lot of you chose to multiply by 3. Did anybody multiply by anything different? Nobody did anything different? Okay, so 3 on the bottom gives me negative 3x plus 3y equals negative 6. All right, now here's what happens in this case here. 3x minus 3x is 0. This does give me 5y, and it does equal 0. That's okay. It's okay for the y to equal, or for the whole thing to equal 0. Now, this is just good old-fashioned divide by 5. Well, 0 divided by 5 is 0. That's okay. We get 0 for one of our values. That's definitely okay. Plug it in, though, and what do I get for x? I think we get what? 2? Because that's just going to cancel out. I get 3x equals 6. Divide by 3. I get x equals 2. 2 0.
Huh?
2 0?
No. Yeah.
Hey, now the only thing I want to have you do is let's just set this one up. I'm not going to give you any homework, but just to finish this bottom one, this last one. What's the problem with this one right here? Grant?
It's not lined up.
It's not lined up. You've got to make everything line up before you can add. So I got this is 2x and y. I'm going to subtract 2x. And so that gives me negative 2x, whoops, plus 3y equals negative 13. And then bring down your 2x plus y equals 25. All right, no homework. We'll just finish this up on Monday. Have a good weekend.